Let's be real. Trying to find the right laptop for 2025 can feel like you're just lost in a sea of tech specs. So today, we're going to cut right through all that noise. We are completely ignoring the world of high-end gaming and focusing on what actually matters for your work, your studies, and, your everyday life.
So if you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by specs you don't really get or features you know you're never going to use, you are in exactly the right place. The market is definitely confusing, but finding a great machine for everything besides gaming, well, that's actually way simpler than you might think.
Think of it like this. Gaming laptops are basically muscle cars. They're super powerful, they're exciting, sure, but they're also heavy, loud, and just thirsty for power. That's why their battery life is often just an afterthought. But everyday laptops, they're engineered for a completely different reason. They're all about being portable, quiet, and having a battery that'll actually last you the entire day. So here's our game plan to get you to the perfect choice. First up, we'll meet the top contenders. Then, we are going to help you find your perfect match based on how you actually live and work. After that, we've got a simple 3-step buying guide to help you make that final call. And we'll wrap it all up with some crucial pro tips.
Okay, first things first, let's meet the stars of the show. We've gone through all the expert recommendations and boiled them down to just a handful of machines that really, truly excel at daily tasks.
And here is a quick cheat sheet just to get us started. You can see the key players right here, from Apple and Dell to Lenovo and HP, and what each one is really best known for. Think of this as our map for the next few minutes as we dive into what makes each of these so special.
First up is a true classic, the MacBook Air. People often call it the effortless everyday companion, and honestly, it's for a very good reason.
So, who's this for? Well, it's an absolute dream for students, writers, and really anyone who needs a super reliable machine for remote work. Its real magic is the incredible balance it strikes between performance and battery life, all thanks to Apple's M-series chips. It's fast, it's completely silent because it has no fan, and it just works. The main trade-off you got to keep in mind is the limited number of ports. That just means you'll probably need an adapter, a dongle, for older stuff like USB sticks or certain monitors.
Now, let's hop over to the Windows side of things. If you're looking for that same kind of premium feel, you've got to meet the Dell XPS 13. It's summed up perfectly as premium Windows on the go. This is really the go-to for professionals and students who love that sleek, ultra-portable design but live in the Windows world. It's built for travel, for working from anywhere, and a lot like the MacBook Air, getting that super thin profile means making a trade-off. You're going to find fewer traditional ports, so you have to be ready for that USB-C lifestyle.
All right, next up, we have a laptop with a truly legendary reputation, the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Carbon. People call this one the traveling typist's dream. And if your job involves a ton of writing, you're going to want to pay close attention. The keyboard on this thing is legendary for a reason. It has this really satisfying key travel and tactile feel that makes typing for hours actually comfortable. You combine that with a famously tough yet somehow still lightweight carbon fiber build, and you've got the perfect machine for executives and writers on the move. Just be aware that premium quality does come with a price tag that can definitely start to climb.
But what if you want the best of both worlds? Well, that brings us to the HP Spectre X360, which is basically a laptop and a tablet all fused together into one really classy package. This 2-in-1 design is a huge plus for creatives, students, or anyone who just loves versatility. You can type up a report, then flip the screen around into tent mode for a presentation. Or you can fold it completely flat to sketch notes just like a tablet. And that beautiful touchscreen, especially if you get the optional OLED display, it makes colors just pop. It's amazing for watching movies or doing some light photo editing. The only small thing to consider is that all that flexibility does add a little bit of weight. Now, let's quickly touch on two other important categories. On the super high end, you have the MacBook Pro, which is a total workhorse for creatives doing heavy-duty video editing or coding. Then, on the other end of the spectrum, for folks who are more budget-conscious, the Acer Swift and Asus ZenBook series offer just incredible value. They give you great portability and solid performance without breaking the bank.
Okay, so we've met all the contenders. Now for what is absolutely the most important part, figuring out which one of these is the right fit for your life.
So, I want you to just take a second and really think about this. What does your typical day look like? Are you constantly running around? Do you live in spreadsheets and documents all day? Or are you maybe sketching out new ideas? Your answer to this question is the key to everything.
This chart here basically connects the dots for you.
It shows how your daily rhythm points directly to a specific recommendation. For instance, if your day is mostly just browsing emails and video calls, the MacBook Air or an Acer Swift is a perfect no-fuss choice. But if you're a total road warrior who writes constantly, that ThinkPad X1 Carbon is practically built just for you. It really is that simple.
And here is one crucial piece of tech advice made super simple. How much RAM do you need? For most non-gamers, 16 gigabytes is the absolute sweet spot. It's just enough to keep your machine running smoothly, even when you have dozens of browser tabs and a bunch of apps open all at once. Yeah, 8 gigabytes can work, but 16 gigabytes is the smart, future-proof choice.
All right, so you figured out your needs. You've probably got a few options in mind. Let's walk through a simple 3-step framework that's going to help you make that final decision with total confidence.
It all boils down to these 3 steps. First, be brutally honest with yourself. Are you really going to be editing 4K video, or are you just living in Google Docs? Define what you'll actually be doing. Second, think about comfort and feel. Seriously, if you can, go to a store. How does the keyboard feel? Is the screen bright and clear? This is going to be your daily driver, so it has to feel right. And finally, evaluate the specs that matter for you. That means focusing on a modern processor and plenty of RAM, not getting sold on some powerful graphics card that's designed for gaming that you'll never, ever use.
All right, before you go out and make your choice, let's lock in a few final crucial pro tips. Think of these as the guiding principles for making a really smart purchase.
Here are the 3 golden rules. First, find your own personal balance between performance, portability, and battery life. There's no single right answer here. It's a trade-off that only you can decide on. Second, protect your wallet. Don't let a salesperson convince you that you need a top-of-the-line graphics card just for sending emails. Pay for what you'll actually use. And finally, think about the long game. A well-built machine might cost a bit more today, but its longevity can make it a much smarter investment over 3, 4, or even 5 years.
And that really brings us to the final, most important thought. The search isn't for the single best laptop out there. It's about finding the best laptop for you, the one that fits your life, your work, and your daily rhythm seamlessly. So what does that machine look like?